Holy shit. It's all over but the crying. Cross is all done, wrapped up. It began at the end of yesterday after the afternoon break, right? And then it ran just a little bit over dinner today, and then redirect happened, and it was all of about 10 minutes of Elaine just... that's a crazy cat lady lawyer, by the way. She was up there trying to muddlefuck her way through some leading hearsay questions. Couldn't get fucking word one out of Amber Heard. Couldn't ask a single question because she's really bad at her fucking job. But she is too stupid to realize how bad she is, so at least she's trying to fucking pound through her different questions. She was just unsuccessful. So now we can take a look at Amber Heard's testimony in totality. She was able to spin her narrative, right, for the first couple of days. Oh, she had this lavish tale of how she was this perfect angel who would never lie. She would never, ever dream of hurting Johnny. It was a perfect relationship, and how she would constantly try to look to the jury for approval. But today, and at the tail end of yesterday, it was a completely and totally different story. And you know what? Hey, it's all over but the crying, if we're being completely fair on this, because honestly, I've been pretty bullish on my prediction that Johnny's going to be winning this, and after today there really is no coming back, okay? Because now this afternoon they're just playing some movies as a video testimony, but they're just trying to play some movies to just kind of make everybody forget and maybe just bore everybody into thinking that there's actually something that's going to be here. But she fucking flopped so hard. It was almost painful at a bunch of different stops to listen to, mostly because it was just old audio recordings of Amber Heard, and it was hairy to say the least. But realistically, at the end of the day, when she's going to have to pay whatever the damages are whenever the jury decides this next Friday, because those deliberations should be over like that. But if Amber needs to pick up a new gig because she's probably going to be done in Hollywood after this, after all of her lies have been exposed, I'm pretty sure, based on the fact that she just got reamed for a few hours by a short little Mexican woman, she's probably going to take out her animosity by picking up a stint working at the Border Patrol. But we're going to go ahead and recap what happened yesterday. I know everybody has already talked about it, and it definitely dominated the conversation. Like I said when we were recapping the conclusion of the direct examination, the little bit of direct there, about the hour and a half, 2 hours, that Camille was able to go in and just absolutely pound over and over and over again. The narrative that she spun throughout the entirety of the cross-examination was, who are you going to believe, this verifiable liar or your own lying eyes? She came out hot. Not her specifically, right? But her questions were pointed. Her direction was very much to plow forward and establish that this bitch right here, she's the actual monster, okay? Amber Heard is the one who was the abuser. We have the audio recordings, we have the testimony, we have her own testimony to play back for her to verify those claims. Amber Heard, on the other hand, just has a whole bunch of wordplay that's just supposed to confuse everybody. Anyways, yeah, so let's recap briefly what happened yesterday. So to begin with, Camille Vasquez began by challenging Heard. Do you think that we tell the world he's a victim of domestic violence? Did you, by playing an audio recording? Amber Heard said that she was the victim and that Johnny beat her up for 5 years. Exactly. That's why your accounts of the different abuses have been just intermittently interwoven, right? And just constantly make up different scenarios, which was very much apparent here today. Oh, I remember, well, this one thing definitely happened, and it was the first time when I was in trial that I could properly place this horrific act that Johnny committed against me. This was just the first time today, or I was able to properly place it in my own fucking narrative timeline. You lying cunt. Court played an audio of Heard begging Johnny to hug her in July of 2016, 2 months after she filed a restraining order. I just want to touch you. I just wanted to hug you, she said. She can be heard crying. And again, this is an audio recording, so again, I still don't know if she can actually produce any tears. Depp's attorneys asked, Johnny Depp is your victim, isn't he? Heard replied, no, ma'am. Yeah, that's nice. And then she started to get into the pictures, right? After establishing that you've always known Johnny Depp to be wearing a whole bunch of rings, right? He always wears rings on basically every finger, right? And then got her to admit that, didn't ever really see him without rings. She changed her tune today, but yesterday, no, it was always, he was always wearing rings all the time. So then went into all of these pictures that had been previously purported as evidence, right? Not these ones specifically, but it's presaged in an event where Heard claims that she was hit so hard the night before that she thought that she broke her nose. And that's literally the night after, okay? But apparently ice and makeup can make a broken nose go away. Well, I don't know if it was a broken nose or not. I kind of think it might have been. Really? Yeah. There's a picture there. There's a picture right there. Broken nose, huh? No, exactly. And then 2015, right? Saying that Johnny beat her mercilessly in the back of the head, right? And then had his knee and was holding her down on her back, pummeling about the back of her head. And again, there's another picture of her back in a backless dress, right? Also devoid of any visible injuries. I don't have any visible injuries in that, at least ones that you can't see. That implies that they're visible, right? She went back and forth, played a whole bunch of different clips from a bunch of different shows, just showing that she was perfectly fine and made up the entire situation. Speaking of other made up things, this was kind of a stumble, right? Because there are multiple angles and multiple pictures of that scenario right there, right? This is a slightly edited version of this picture anyways, but oh yes, no, this was Amber Heard's breakfast table, right? Where she sent this picture off to her friend, and it's like, oh, look at this is yay for breakfasts. There's multiple other pictures of this being taken from different angles and different staged implements on the table as well, change position, right? And just so you know, and just for a food for thought, rather, okay, if Johnny Depp, a sophisticated drug addict, right, doesn't have a specific designated straw for his nose to do cocaine, okay, if he can have a box where he keeps his cocaine, where he places it directly there, but then also such an addict that he just leaves lines of cocaine right there perfectly. He doesn't have his own dedicated straw. This is somebody who uses illicit drugs all the time, okay? So you wouldn't want to leave around evidence, like even if you're just using a random tampon applicator, because apparently, oh no, my sister Whitney taught him how to do that. So remember Amber Heard's prior testimony where she's like, oh, I'm just against all illicit drugs at all times and I'd never do that, except for the two instances where I said that I'd do them, but outside of that I'd never do them, at least in company with Johnny. And then every other extraneous circumstance, it was, oh no, Johnny wasn't there when I did the drugs. There's just so many lies, and most of them got exposed on cross, but it left a lasting impression with the jury that ain't nobody believing you. Because there were some lawyers that have YouTube channels and prominent channels on the site, okay, they were in the courtroom yesterday, and they made note that Amber, whenever she would look over, if you guys were watching the trial, or at least clips of the trial, she would look over to the jury when she's addressing them, and she had 3 people in the jury yesterday when she was describing her lies, trying to keep everything straight. She'd look over to the jury, and there were 3 different people that she could look at in order to tell her tale, and if the person that she initially looked at to spin her web of lies wasn't receptive to it, she would just change positions, and then eventually one of the 3 would find her credible in some form or fashion. But today, it was pretty obvious that there was one person at best, the one that was down on the bottom row, if that's how everybody's set up, right? There was one person that she was directing her ire at, and then eventually all of that shit fell off, and then she was just looking straight forward, or trying to look at Johnny, trying to look at the lawyer, but again, also trying to keep her composure, because at a few different times, she just about cracked, but she was very consistent with her own demeanor. It wasn't emotional at all, like it was during the direct examination, where everything was perfectly laid out for her to be, the 1950s housewife that was just, grabbed by the top of her head and thrown around and having to constantly cover up her bruises. No, the only thing that she has to cover up is what actually happened in the relationship, just like these staged pictures there. But the damning admission from yesterday, and something that's probably going to be memed into oblivion if it hasn't already, was exposing the fact that yes, Amber Heard has not fulfilled her commitment to the ACLU or the Children's Hospital at all. This dominated the later half of the day, mostly because it was a lie. Okay, Amber Heard tried to get into a semantics argument with Camille, but it fell flat, okay? To anybody who's has a basic grasp of the English language, okay? Amber said, well, I've pledged to fulfill my $3.5 million commitment to the ACLU or to the Children's Hospital. I pledged it. That means that I'm going to give away the $7 million. Well, what do you make of the fact that you haven't fulfilled your yearly contributions? Well, I was sued by Johnny, and then I didn't have the funds in order to commit to that. So obviously they understand my situation. Okay, cool. Well, you got the entirety of your divorce settlement 15 months before Depp filed the suit against you. So during that 15 months, you didn't want to do anything when it comes to fulfilling that obligation? What about those other missed payments that are on there? Well, no, I didn't miss any of those payments, and I fulfilled my obligations because I pledged to give them to the charities. Did you pay those charities? I pledged to. And then that went back and forth and back and forth. And then that just immediately exposed her as being a liar, on top of showing picture after picture. Oh, this was the day after you were brutally beaten and you have what, one little mark on your head? Oh, okay, cool. So those are clear and honest and accurate representations of what happened after. Yes, I was scared for my life. Right. So Johnny, who is not known to never be wearing no jewelry on his hands, okay, with big chunky clunky rings on his hand, was grounding and pounding you like you're fucking, like he was Tito Ortiz. But yes, the only thing that you have to show is the power of your magical makeup. Okay, cool. So that was the entirety of the end of yesterday's cross. And then as for today, yeah, it started off fine. It just kind of languished for a bit, but right at the end, that's when they started to hit them. That's when they started to hit Amber Heard and her team with the big guns, and the same shenanigans were coming out from the Defence Counsel side. Okay, Elaine was constantly, her lawyer, by the way, Elaine, was constantly trying to drag out the objections that she had. Okay, always trying to get to a sidebar, trying to go up to the judge to discuss, so Amber could get her story straight. And meanwhile, Camille is trying to pin her down on different specific lies that were out there. And she was doing fine. She exposed her as being a liar a couple of times. He would have liked her to narrow in directly on, you're being a liar right here, okay? You are contradicting yourself by saying that, yes, I documented all of these tragic situations, and Australia was the worst incident of my life. Therefore, there's no medical records, there's no photographic evidence. Oh no, I only started to do this afterwards, but Australia was like the culminating event that ended up precipitating the different divorce proceedings. Yeah, don't mind any of that stuff. Again, who are you going to believe? The doting angel, the perfect saint, Amber Heard, or your own lying eyes? So yeah, let's run through today's cross-examination, and realistically, just the Hindenburg that is her case, just emulating like a fucking Tibetan monk right in front of everybody. Amber Heard agreed with Johnny Depp's lawyer that their first year of marriage in 2012 was magic and that he was sober throughout. Asked by Johnny Depp's lawyer if she claimed he'd been abusive to her throughout, Johnny Depp's lawyer asked why Amber Heard thought bought Johnny Depp a knife for his birthday and showed it to the court. Had the physical knife that was there. Okay, yeah, this was one of the first thing in the morning. Right, Johnny Depp was mercilessly beating you throughout 2012. So, okay, again, somebody who's being abusive, somebody who you've testified and also have claimed that my life could have ended at any moment. I was so scared for myself at all times. Why'd you give him a fucking Bowie knife? That makes no sense, okay? But again, just let that hang there, okay? Let the jury just kind of be like, those two dots don't really connect at all whatsoever. But that was the first of many instances that were out there. And going forward to Australia, yeah, Amber Heard claims Johnny Depp smashed a phone to smithereens and grabbed her by the neck and assaulted her with a bottle. Yeah, that was the apparent, Maker's Mark bottle that was shoved in her cooter. There was blood everywhere, but you didn't take any pictures. And the phone that you smashed to smithereens, it was never photographed because it was always just out of frame. How unlucky. And that Camille also called that out, okay? One of the responses that Amber gave to one of the questions that was there, she was like, why isn't the phone that was smashed to smithereens ever photographed? Oh, it's just behind the photograph taker. It's just off screen. But there's no remnants. There's no... If he's smashing a phone into the wall, wouldn't you think it would have just broke out in some form or fashion? Wouldn't you think one shard of this phone would just bounce and it'd get into frame in some form or fashion? No? No, okay. It's just an unlucky coincidence. Every single time. What a coincidence. Said she never knew the sequence of all the events. It was during a 3-day assault. Yeah, exactly. She was also telling on her direct examination. She was telling everything in a sequential order, right? How she got there, what happened, and then going downstairs the next day, finding Johnny, listening to Marilyn Manson, because he's also a sexual abuser, painting on everything, right? To tell that in a sequential order, but then when it comes to cross, I can't remember what happened in what order. I'm too stupid to recount everything. I just want to leave it ambiguous so that the jury just has to decide. You don't really want that anymore, do you? Johnny Depp's attorney, Camille Vasquez, grilled Amber Heard about her claims of sexual assault while he was allegedly high on MDMA. Yeah, this was also the Australia incident. He was high on 8 to 10 pills of MDMA, also drinking as well. And then again, okay, was he holding the Maker's Mark bottle or was he holding the phone? Was he also holding your neck at the same time? How did he get the bottle? Where did the bottle come from? We know where you alleged the bottle ended up, but what happened to it? Where is it in the picture? Okay, why is it downstairs in the study afterwards? Like, what are we doing here? Heard claimed Depp had grabbed her and sexually assaulted her with a wine bottle. Nope, it was a Maker's Mark bottle. That was confirmed today. Okay, there was a speculation because there was 2 bottles pictured, but she said it was the Maker's Mark bottle. Didn't dispute that. I've always thought it was, but then I just think because of the shape of the bottle, because it felt like he was punching me in the cunt, and I just always thought it was that when I first seen the picture during this trial. Anyways, Vasquez asked, yes, the master deputy to show the knife. Camille asked, heard of the 2015 amputation incident? Yes, where she threw a vodka bottle on Johnny Depp when he was resting his hand on the side of the bar, and then it smashed and severed the finger. That amputation incident, okay? Amber Heard's answers, I had a mixed relationship with Johnny. Sometimes I was scared. Sometimes I loved him. Yeah, no, we heard the audio recordings. You're very, very emotive in those when you aren't trying to suppress your own internal rage because you just want to. If this was a lawless society, you would have been clawing Camille Vasquez's eyes out. You can't convince me otherwise. Amber Heard's answers, oh yeah, sometimes I loved him. Yeah, that's nice. You still do, you fucking psychopath. Camille Vasquez then asked, after that night in Australia, you weren't scared at all, were you? Heard answers, this is a man who tried to kill me. Of course that's scary. He's also my husband. Yeah, he tried to kill you, right? Even though none of the pictures ever even come close to supporting that claim, but yeah, you do you, I guess. Heard claims she saw she was in a toxic relationship with Depp, and then she was scared of him, and that she wanted out, and then stayed with him for just about another year before she filed for divorce. And then, yeah, also got this wonderful admission that she didn't seek treatment after bleeding from literally every fucking conceivable orifice, after literally almost being killed. Didn't seek any medical attention, okay? Also had her own personal nurse, which she would, again, just get into this semantic argument. Oh, Erin Filati, she was your personal nurse, right? She was assigned to me. She was your personal nurse, right? She was hired for your care. She saw you in a professional setting. She was assigned to me. And then they'd go back on this tete-a-tete. It just looked petty. It looked stupid. But again, Amber Heard has never walked into a room and hasn't been the smartest person there. She always thinks she's 1 to 2 steps ahead of literally everybody. She's fucking nuts, and it came out obviously. Very bad for her today. Heard also claims a Carly Simon song, You're So Vain. Lyrics written in the mirror. The couple's Australia home was written by Depp. Again, yeah, that's the picture. One of the 2 pictures that she took in Australia. Everything else was made by Ben King, who is just a liar pants. Just like everybody else. Everybody else is lying, right? It's a huge conspiracy because everybody was hired by Johnny Depp, and there's never ever been an instance of a independent contractor ever contradicting the person who hired them. Never once. Nope, couldn't possibly have happened. These dozens of people who knew your situation intimately, they're all in on this big cover-up to make you look like a crazy person. Really makes you think, doesn't it? Right, but then you just take a look, like just an amateur level of handwriting analysis, okay? You take a look at the most clear and obvious letters that are on there, just an S, okay? You take a look at this S, you take a look at the top curl as opposed to the bottom, where it starts, and then you just compare and contrast that with the other S's that were there. Obviously, this is made with paint, okay? This could be done maybe with a different implement, but they were all alleged to be paint, and then amber, oh, it was also with blood. Sure, just point out the blood on there, okay? Yeah, notice how it's incredibly faint as opposed to what you claim is blood and what Ben King and then literally everybody else with a pair of eyes can also see as being red lipstick, which Amber Heard, you've never been pictured with wearing before, right? But no, just compare and contrast the S's, okay? It's clearly two different people writing the song lyrics, okay? And then there's another picture that's out there, probably the other one that Amber took, or maybe it's a different one that was also taken from a different time because there's different things in the background, okay? You can see this towel rack in the back. There's like a towel in one of them, and then the towel's over here in another one. So again, a staged photo seems like a through line that's there. But again, Johnny wrote both of those screeds. Of course, love. And remember how I was saying and how Amber's also been saying it, everybody's lying except for me, right? Amber Heard says a picture of injured Johnny Depp from the honeymoon is photoshopped. So now even technology is lying against her, okay? I'm surprised she disputed the conversations on the audio tapes, but I'm surprised she didn't say that Apple also had it out for me. Their recording software was editing my voice in live time. She said, this photograph right here of Johnny Depp, it's grainy, but with a mouse under his eyes, it's photoshopped. Right. It was just kind of an offhanded remark, but remember, all of the evidence that she was a bad person or that there were any injuries on Johnny, that's just a clear misrepresentation of the facts, right? And then they got into the personal diary entries, which were just kind of lovey-dovey nonsense. But again, I had extensive text messages back and forth with all of my confidants, like 10 of them. That was something that came out on redirect, which was truncated and disaster in and of itself. But yes, I have these extensive conversations with like 10 people, and I have all of these records, even though they're all hearsay documents that you've all made for yourself, and everything that you have produced hasn't really backed up any of your claims. But there's this journal where you guys are lovingly writing notes back and forth, and the only thing that's in there is you apologizing for different fights that were there. There was one audio that was played. I don't know if you guys have done any tertiary research on your own, but there's one where she's mocking Johnny, where she's hysterically laughing, where she's putting on a accent and a certain tone that made me repulsed to a level where it was uncomfortable to listen to, right? And here's some excerpts from it. Nobody wants 21 Drunk Street in a heated argument. A heated one-way argument, if we're being totally fair about this. And again, you have all of these audio recordings, and you claim that you have so many more, and no, everybody's lying and everybody's incompetent except for me. I produced everything to my lawyers, and everything that would corroborate all of my fantastical stories. They just haven't been produced before, mostly because they don't exist. Amber Heard threw everybody under the bus, but remember, she's the victim in this. Just don't call her a victim. That's something else that Camille should have pressed her on, because yesterday she absolutely fucking freaked out. I am not a victim. She snapped back, and it's just like, she probably pressed that button a couple of times, but just before lunch, Amber was starting to get riled up, and then they're like, this is a good time to stop, and it's like, fuck, she just about started screaming. Kind of like she did in this audio recording. Go ahead and laugh, Depp said, and Heard kept laughing at him. Yeah, in just this party girl kind of hysterical, mocking laugh that was uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable. I'm going to go back and I'm going to listen to this entire cross-examination to see what exactly came out, because I'm following this right to the fucking end. I don't care how much suppression YouTube gives, because I went and I looked back at the numbers, and boys, it's not getting distributed. But again, I like covering this stuff because this is a huge excoriation of Me Too and Believe All Women. It should just emulate this nonsense. This is always going to be one of those things where, oh, if somebody comes through with an accusation that they've never gone to the police with, and that constantly is contradicted by reality. We just need to believe them because victims are never believed. Right, there's a reason you just don't believe everybody, because everybody within the Western world, mostly talking about Canada, the UK, and the United States, you're innocent until proven guilty. And this whole believe all women, Me Too nonsense, it's guilty until proven innocent. And for the better part of 4 fucking years, Amber Heard made the most money in her career, had the biggest roles of her career, while Johnny Depp couldn't land a single fucking role in anything. And Amber just recently in March shot a fucking another film, okay? A proven liar. Somebody who had an orchestrated smear campaign, which he constantly accused Johnny Depp of having. Oh, every time that you Google my name, all you're going to get is just this orchestrated smear campaign from Johnny. Can you substantiate any of that? He said he would call off the smear campaign. Again, him saying that he'd call off the dogs doesn't have anything to say that he was responsible for the fact that people are looking at this and realizing that you're a fucking liar and a bit of a psychopath. No one wants 21 drunk Street. Heard is shouting at him. No one wants your journals. You're a joke. You're a washed up piece of shit. Depp snapped back. He's like, your jealousy is so tragic. Snapping's a bit strong. But again, this is the Daily Mail and mainstream media, which again, yesterday's headlines that were just blasted out there was, oh my god, the pictures of Amber Heard's swollen face were shown once again to the jury. Again, these swollen face pictures or that swollen face, not entirely sure. But there were 3 big bombshells right at the end of cross-examination that literally nuked her case. Like, there's no coming back from this stuff. And definitely after what was supposed to be a rehabilitation on redirect, there's no coming back from this, okay? Here's 3. It's the first one's the lesser of the 3, but still, in the counterclaim, right? Because Johnny Depp's suing her for $50 million, therefore she couldn't afford to pay her contributions charitably, right? So kids are going to starve because Johnny Depp's just trying to make me a victim one last time or some nonsense like that, obviously. But again, she's claiming I didn't have any conversations with Adam Waldman, his Johnny Depp's attorney who was making all of these defamatory claims against me. And that's why I'm countersuing, because he said things that led me to lose nothing, actually. In fact, your campaign with L'Oreal, okay, a beauty cream campaign, which you should probably be selling your blood because of your mutant healing abilities. But regardless, right, Adam Waldman's making these claims that, yes, Amber Heard's domestic violence hoax campaign is eventually coming to an end, and she's making all of these fantastical claims. That's the extent of Waldman's statements, so she's suing Heard because of what the attorney and spokesman says. But again, regardless, so yeah, she didn't have any conversation with him at all. And then there's a tweet. Yes, Mr. Waldman, I may be wearing makeup on this occasion, but on every occasion you will still be short. Okay, temporarily based Amber Heard. And then going back to the deposition, the video deposition that was provided for their divorce proceedings, which was vociferously fought over because, yeah, you don't want to see that bitch on camera because that's the one from the thumbnails, right? You see just kind of a low resolution picture from 2016 where she's pulling some of the most ridiculous faces you've ever seen, where she's like lunging forward with her teeth exposed, or she's smirking whenever something's played, and she's rolling her eyes, and that's that deposition. There was a specific clip that was played, right? In regards to, I just wanted to keep my divorce proceedings and my acquisition of a domestic violence restraining order. I just wanted to keep it private. That's why I went through the public entrance in order to go there, and then came out through the public entrance again at the end of it. And that's why I also showed up with no makeup at all, even though I always have to wear makeup because I'm so fair-skinned and I have a skin condition, which hasn't been, testified to at all or whatever. But no, that's why I showed up with my publicist at the time, who was just gonna be there because whenever I'd file for something, it was going to be made public. So immediately you would just have people show up, right? Okay, cool. That's not how things work. It's not like they just, the Los Angeles County Police Department, right? It's not like they just put in the request for the temporary restraining order, the domestic violence restraining order. They'd put it in there, press publish, and then immediately a fucking press blast gets out there. This is not exactly how it works, because remember, Amber Heard was also talking about, I went outside and there were just so many press people that were out there. I've never seen it in my life, and that's when the wrath of the culture started against me. Yeah. And then you go back to that deposition from 2016, and Amber Heard appeared to suggest that TMZ knew about her divorce filings ahead of time, because she said that TMZ was alerted, and then in the deposition grabs her face, covers her face, and combs back her hair. Yeah, it's pretty damning now, isn't it? That just makes you out to be a fucking liar, bro. And then also in those depositions as well, she was describing the situation where Johnny Depp was trying to hide for Amber Heard during one of their altercations, and maybe potentially the door was opened after she was just consistently banging on the door in order to get at Johnny to continue some fucking banal argument, and maybe her toes got injured when the door swept over top of them. And then Johnny got hit in the head with the corner of the door. He said, "What the fuck?" And then Amber Heard punched him in the face. Okay. Her recitation of those events after playing the audio clip in court was that, no, it was Johnny was actually hitting me, and I was just trying to get away from him, and he was abusing me by hiding. Cool, great. And then they played it back from the video deposition from 2016, and then it tells a different story where she all of a sudden was hiding from Johnny inside the bathroom. So it was right there in living color in 4:3 recording, played for the jury, of her just blatantly lying. Okay, she had nothing to say to that afterwards, but that whole TMZ clip, that's pretty bad, because she said, I never wanted to hurt Johnny. Oh my god, I just want this all to go away. Why did you alert TMZ? Why is it that TMZ has the copyright for that cabinet slamming photo, or the cabinet slamming video, right? The most damning thing that Amber Heard has put out there, right? That's why it was just leaked from the media, right? That's why TMZ owns it, because you leaked it to them. Your team leaked it to them. If you don't want to say that you did it, that's fine. Your team was also responsible for that now, weren't they? No, of course not. I wouldn't dare to do anything like that. No, cool. How would a tabloid outlet get a recording from your own personal phone? Yep, exactly. And then what we've all been waiting for, put in front of the jury, was that Amber Heard was arrested in 2009 for assaulting her former partner, Tasia Van Reed. Yep, that's what they ended on. Fucking oof, my dude. Fucking oof. Johnny Depp's attorney, Camille Vasquez, ended her cross-examination of Amber Heard by questioning the Aquaman actor about allegations that she abused her ex-girlfriend, Tasia Van Reed. Johnny Depp isn't the only partner of yours that you've assaulted, Vasquez asked, referring to allegations that Heard hit Ree in 2009. I've never assaulted any partner, Rhea said. The 2009 incident was a misunderstanding. Once again, just Amber Heard finding herself in these situations where everybody is lying about what actually happened, right? It was a simple misunderstanding, right? By a misogynist, homophobic cop, because there were two openly and proud lesbians that were there, even though the cop that seen the abuse happen at the time that resulted in the arrest that happened to be a lesbian as well. Yep. It wasn't good. It was not good for her. Cross-examination did leave a lot to be desired, but it was more than enough to just absolutely put her case on life support. And now, I don't know what's going to happen. I really don't know how she comes back from this at all, because her sister might be testifying in the next couple of days. Okay, one of Johnny Depp's maybe month-long flings will just make up some accusations from 1994 that, oh, Depp was abusive. Meanwhile, Winona Ryder, who, by the way, made a significant enough impact on Johnny Depp's life that he tattooed Winona Forever on his arm, has never said a cross word about the man. Or Vanessa Paradis, the woman who bore both of the children that they share, hasn't said a cross word about him, even though they never got married. They spent, 14 fucking years together. Not because they didn't want to, because after that relationship ended and that Depp got into the relationship with her, Vanessa was married off within a couple of years after. She hasn't said fuck all about any domestic violence accusations, and she would have more than enough ammunition, okay, in order to do that. And then again, have a 7-fold longer relationship? It's just incomprehensible, okay? It was exposed to the jury that you have a grand conspiracy here. It's either everybody in Johnny Depp's world is lying. The entire world is lying. Everybody's against Amber Heard, who is not a victim, by the way. It's just that's the facts, okay? He was paying everybody to just keep quiet and to make sure that everybody was a yes man around Johnny Depp. He was just the second coming of Christ, for fuck's sakes, okay? He could never do anything wrong in the eyes of these people, and that they would just go to the fucking sheets for him, okay? He would never be found guilty because society properly props up every man that's there and that they just believe all men. Or is it just a little bit more reasonable to believe that there is one vindictive liar that is up there and it's spent the better part of 4 days on the stand crafting a narrative that nobody fucking believed, nobody can make eye contact with? Every story devolves into a semantic argument, or it has more holes, bigger holes that you could drive a semi-truck through. Somebody who made a couple of statements and ruined an S-tier celebrity's fucking movie career. She didn't make her case. Her defense counsel muddle-fucked its way through objections and that abortion that was a redirect. You better hope that Rotten Board gives a closing argument of a fucking lifetime, because you're gonna need it, dude. With all of that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.